friends, excitement is running really high here at Stiff Upper Lip today, because today we are looking at two snoozes that were released only last week by Mellgren's Fine Tobacco. Check these ones out. And I was raving already in review number 11 about batch 1 of this one, Mellgren's IPA edition single cut, for its elegant tobacco and clean citrus taste. And ever since then we've been hearing about that a batch 2 should be coming out that should be then amped up in both taste and nicotine. And here it is. And I've got a secret weapon for this review. I've got a can here of batch 1. You can see it looks a bit different, doesn't have anything on the side. It's also 3 months out of date, this one, so I'll take that into consideration when I compare them. The new one has a nice Mellgren's design going around it like that, and obviously it's a much fresher can straight out of the factory, this one. I actually have two secret weapons because I've also got an IPA. So IPA is India Pale Ale, and that's what the snus is inspired by. I've got Odell's India Pale Ale here. The snus is originally inspired by Sculpin IPA by Ballast Point, I believe. And ever since day one, we also heard that there could potentially be a white portion coming out. And here, that one is Mellgren's IPA edition white. So here we got these two brand new products. They're blended by Conny Andersson, and he's been working on tobacco fields in Cuba. And then when he came back to Sweden, he was making some Karduses for Swedish Match, and he's also made the crafted snus whiskey that I gave really nice score, and that's for AG snus, AG snus. So for these snoozes, I'm going to look at three things here: the tobacco, the citrus, and the hops. So for the tobacco, it's quite similar in quality to the Kardus, actually. It's all lamina, so all leaves, no stems used for this one. And it's a single cut snus, so it's not ground like pretty much all snoozes on the market except for Kardus. So it's high quality stuff there. The tobacco used is from Brazil. We got Mata Norte, which should have like a chocolatey taste. There's tobacco from Guatemala, Nueva Concepcion there, from South Africa, and also from Lancaster, Pennsylvania in the United States. And that's ecological tobacco grown by the Amish there. And I've heard that that tobacco, there's a little bit more of the Amish grown tobacco in this batch, in the second batch, than there is in the first batch, actually. And for the citrus, it's lemon verbena, which is a shrub. So it should have kind of a different character to bergamot, for instance, or lemon. So it's quite interesting. They also used verbena for batch 1. And when it comes to the hop side, Cascade hops been used in this one. So yeah, very exciting stuff here. Can't wait to get into this one. For the loose version, the single cut, it's got 32 grams of tobacco in this one. And the nicotine is approximately 10 milligrams per gram. And for the white one, 20 portions, 0.9 gram portions, and the nicotine around 9 milligrams per portion, or 10 milligrams per gram. I think there could be variations there slightly, but it's around those levels. The catch lid on the white one is quite small, and it actually says, it actually has AG insignia on it there, which indicates that it's actually been made in their factory, which makes sense because Conny is actually working for that company, as well as doing his own stuff and with Mellgrens now. So it's made in the factory in Assens in Denmark, I believe, at AG. So, should we get into this? Get the right one, the right batch. Here we go. unopened batch 2 of Mellgren's single cut. Batch 2. There you go, look at that. It's really beautiful. It's cut tobacco, not ground. And, whoa, falling a little bit there. Batch 1, the really old one now, is looking very similar. Maybe a little bit coarser, that one. I'm not sure. You can work that out for yourself, which you think. Smell. Okay, batch 2, the one we're reviewing. Wow. Yep, that's a citrus bomb. Compared to batch 1. Oh wow, that's a huge difference actually. It's very earthy, the batch 1. Maybe actually it's a bit old, this one, so maybe it's changed completely as well. But batch 2 has a much brighter citrus character to it. So find that interesting. Let's get into the white one as well, shall we? Oh yeah, I remember the crafted snus whiskey white portion. I think they make really beautiful portions, AG Snus, high quality. Like the look of those. Pretty nicely plumped up. Put one in. And the smell. Yeah, a little bit more subdued than the loose, but I would say, yeah, it's really citrusy as well. A little bit more ammonia maybe coming through initially. There is quite a whiff coming, not a lot of whiff of ammonia, but it's a lot of smell generally coming out. And it's citrusy, but the loose a little bit nicer, but they are actually quite similar. So I'll really enjoy using both cans up now, and I'll be right back to you and tell you what I think about these two. See you soon. Check that out. Made on the 2nd of February 2016. Really fresh stuff here. And amazingly, you can already pick this up at snus24.com if you're outside the EU. If you're in Sweden, you can pick it up from Mellgren's webshop at mellgrens.se. So first of all, for both of these, when it comes to the nicotine, surprising kick. I've never had any snoozes at 10 milligram per gram that kick as much as these. So don't worry about that if you want your nicotine. They live up to their promise on the amped nicotine side for sure. And for the taste side, they said it would be amped up in taste, and they sure are. Initially, for both of these, I get kind of a soapy quality actually. The mind sort of wanders to walking into a body shop or something like that. But I would let it air for a while, and most of that goes away. And interestingly, soapiness is something that you can get in hops. A friend of mine doesn't like IPAs because he thinks that they taste of soap. So it's sort of a natural thing with hops and a personal preference. But let them air and they will mostly go away. I also get sort of a flowery taste. I was thinking lavender, but there is no lavender in the snus. But I get a little bit of that. Mainly though, for both of these, it's sort of a lemon curd, really zesty snus, and a little bit of a herbal note from the verbena. So it's a little bit of a different citrus character in that sense. So that's pretty cool. I like that. Even more citrusy than batch 1, I would say. They are both the most citrusy snoozes I've ever had. And I would say they are sort of the punk IPAs of the snus world. They're quite hardcore in that sense. Compared to batch 1, batch 2, the bakeability is not quite as good due to it not being hand-baked for batch... not hand-baked, not being hand-packed for batch 2 anymore. So it's a little bit hard to bake this one, I must say. Falls apart a bit. But once it's in, it really sits there better than any other snus. Like with batch 1, I could bring it into work, it can sit in for a couple of hours, so that's really good. One of the main criticisms I've heard about the Lös batch 2 is that it's dry. It is a little bit dry, and I would agree with that is probably my main criticism of it. Probably has something to do with it being single cut. It's a little bit hard to bake, but it's still really nice once it's in, so just work on it a bit and you'll get there. And the taste of the hops, every now and then, occasionally it does come through, much more so than in batch 1 for sure. That one was much more tobacco centric. This one, citrus bomb really, with a bit of hops in there, I would say. And I like batch 1 for its tobacco centricness, and I kind of almost ate it. This one is a different character, much more flavorful, explosive. Not quite as easy to eat, if you know what I mean, but it has a lot more taste. And compared to this specific batch, it's much nicer, because that's an old one now. It's completely lost its initial charm, really, so don't keep them too long. And compared to the portion, I would say they are remarkably similar, batch 2 Lös and the white portion. The taste of the Lös comes through a little bit more, which is to be expected. The white obviously takes a little bit longer to release the flavor, being a white portion as well. But the taste is really there, bright citrus in both of them. So really well made, the white portion as well as the batch 2, I would say. So if you haven't done it already, pick them up from Snus24 or Mellgrens.se. These are very good snoozes for sure. I prefer the Lös, but not by much, I would say. So for Mellgren's IPA edition, single cut batch 2, I will give an 8.5. So that's in the 5 out of 5 range there. Mellgren's IPA edition white portion, I'll give it an 8, which is very high for a portion for me. I don't think I've given any portion higher than 8, so there you go. Good stuff. Well done, Conny Andersson. Well done, Mellgrens. Look forward to your next creations. Okay, hope it hasn't been too long of a review. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.